So
get
thanks
my
so much
followers
for being and accepting the invitation, and I really appreciate it. Let me give you a little bit about who I am, what I'm doing, and then so you have a better idea of why we're doing this meeting right now. So my name is Mustafa. You can call me Mo, and I'm based in Cairo, Egypt. And actually, I'm a civil engineer by profession, but my passion is entrepreneurship. So I studied entrepreneurship in the U.S., Italy, and Slovenia, and I run an initiative, one of the most successful entrepreneurship initiative in Cairo, Egypt. I ran it for 5 years, and Stanford University Business School invited me once back in 2014 to speak about the success story of that initiative. And
I know Cairo. I was in Cairo in the 1990s, so
that was back.
visited.
That was back. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I'm glad I had the opportunity.
Awesome.
And I know it's difficult to travel these days. So
you're not planning to come soon, right?
No, it'd be nice to come back someday, but
not with the COVID.
It was amazing. All the pyramids, everything. It was pretty incredible trip, right? We did a little cruise down the Nile on a smaller cruise ship, and we stopped at all the ancient places. It was really it was extraordinary. Yeah.
Awesome. So glad that you mentioned that. So again, I started writing an entrepreneurship about successful entrepreneurs back in 2017 and 16, and I decided that I've met around 80 entrepreneurs from all over the North Africa region, and now I'm kind of in the middle of doing a new initiative, which is like meeting entrepreneurs, all right, from all over the world, to share their success story, share some challenges that they are facing to start their businesses, some of the struggles that you faced before, maybe some interest in coming to different regions, so that might be an opportunity for you to share that here, so that people from North Africa maybe they interested in what you do, so that they wanted to bring it in the region. So that's why I started this initiative, meeting entrepreneurs from all over and recording this and post it online, definitely after your approval. And that's very much what I'm currently doing. How about you?
Great, great intro. Yeah, well, I think you know a little bit about. Have you visited our website?
I visited, and I've watched some of actually YouTube videos that was attached to the new website. And I feel like when you're saying training and consultancy, but in a way that is unique and it's a new approach, I feel like if you can share a little bit about that, that would be more valuable.
Well, it's interesting. Be Something Wonderful was, I've been in business for years, right? For many years. And I started out as an accountant, to tell you the truth, a CPA, way
Interesting.
back.
Mm-hmm.
To start my career. So I started in the financial area.
Yeah.
And sort of worked my way up into some companies. And then I was like a chief financial officer. And then I joined this startup company, this entrepreneur from San Jose. This is back in the 1990s.
Okay.
My first real excursion into what entrepreneurship is like. It didn't take off, but I wouldn't call it a failure. I think anytime an entrepreneur goes out and starts something, I think that is a success. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We're so hung up measuring things and piling up money and taking company public, where really, if you go out and do something and you take that risk, that's successful in itself. So all you entrepreneurs out there, anybody that's ever risked and done that, good for you, because that's tough. Well, we worked in this for a number of years. We raised money, professional funds, right, from professional venture capitalists, and it failed eventually. It did not go where we wanted it to go. Lots of long story, and then I sort of took a break, and then I went down to South America, actually, in Peru, visited Cusco, and sort of, along the lines of, like, when I visited Cairo, I visited the pyramids. I like to visit those ancient empires and so forth. Of course, Egypt's much older. But when I was down there, I said, I think I'm going to stay a while. And I met an American business guy who just started an English Institute. So I joined with him.
Okay.
And again, it's quite successful. It's still existing. And he's a great entrepreneur. And he did a great job. Him and his wife. I joined them early on, so I wasn't one of the starting founders. I was what you'd call a founding partner. I joined them early, and I stayed with them for quite a while. But then it was just me gnawing at me. I got to do something else. I've got to. I don't know what it is. If you want to call it a spiritual transformation, that's what I would say it was. It was me trying to reach that higher self. Right? We all have that higher perspective, that divinity inside us. And that's what I was reaching for. I was not so much frustrated with them down there or anything. I think they were probably more frustrated with me, although it came out that I was frustrated with them because I was so frustrated with myself, right? Mm-hmm. You project everything, right? And I knew I needed to do something. And this was the start of Be Something Wonderful. I was sort of scribbling some things down there. And I said, I really want to do something different. I want to do something wonderful. No, I want to be something wonderful. That was the start of it. Mm-hmm. And Be Something Wonderful, the idea is to bring, we're so focused on doing instead of in the world, all of us, we're focused on doing and accumulating and piling up trophies and degrees and accomplishment, what we feel are these external accomplishments, instead of working on the internal accomplishment of who you are. And that's what Be Something Wonderful is, to be that higher ideal. And I wanted to, my goal is to bring that to the business world, right? I'm still working on it. I sent you a link. I have a little book out that really tells our story. It's called Be Something Wonderful When Suddenly You Want to Be More. It's on Amazon if
I've seen it. The title is very interesting and attractive.
Yeah. It talks about quantum physics. It talks about the universe. It talks about God in the sense of that power, that divinity, that creator of the universe, and that we're part of that, right? We have that creation inside of us, and we're powerful beyond measure. I mean, we really are incredibly powerful, and we do so little to tap into it. A lot of people tap into it now. I want to be cautious that there's so many great teachers out there. I'm going to call them spiritual teachers, self-help teachers, from Tony Robbins to Abraham Hicks, the late Wayne Dyer, the late Louise Hay, all of these people out there, the late Neville Goddard, who had a big, interesting take on spirituality and being a mystic himself back in the 50s and 60s. All of these teachers, and even our scientists, Einstein, they were all on it. They all understood that there's something special about energy and our connection to the universe and our connection to God. And that we have this inside us. And that's what I'm trying to tap into. That's what I'm trying to bring. A lot of I've done this, right? This is nothing new in the sense. I'm just bringing my perspective to it. And that's what you would find if you read Be Something Wonderful When Suddenly You Want to Be More. The book sort of it's part sort of memoir. It talks a little bit about how Be Something Wonderful came to be with me. And then that's part one. And part two kind of goes into quantum physics, energy, the universe, God, all that stuff. And then part three goes into a code. I call it the Be a Code.
Do you have it in different languages as well?
Yeah, that's a code. That's really going to be the basis of the business going forward. It's going to be built around that, the Dare to Be It code, which is my proprietary code that I developed. But really, it's my connection. We're all connected to the same information, right? Mm-hmm. It's pulling from all the best spiritual teachers. They're all out there. Tony Robbins, all of them. All of these people are brilliant, amazing. And I just sort of pieced together my take on it and my view of how that fits together. And really, it's nothing new. It's just my sort of way of looking at it. And so that's what Be Something Wonderful is. And, it's my hope is that it's going to be something very, what I really want it to be is something that makes people feel good, because I think that's what we're all looking for that these days, right? It's with COVID-19 and wow, in the upheavals, I mean, in the United States alone, there's a lot of internal bickering, I would say, and we think that's correct. We think that's the way we should live, kind of banging it out and being one against the other. That's really not what we came here for. We came here to find joy and love, and
Sure.
and when we sort of come down from the Creator and we come into these physical bodies, we forget that. We had to forget it. But I think our whole goal is to get back to that divinity, get back to that love. That's what Be Something
But can I ask you a question here? Very important.
Bridge that gap, business and spirituality. So go ahead, Mo. I don't want to.
No,
I can talk all day about
that. That's completely fine. And I feel I can actually feel the passion to what you do, and which is great. But I want to know, like, how long does it take for you, or for anyone from your experience, so that they can be able to touch their inner energy, I would say, so that they can feel the power that comes from their inside?
Well, that's a great question, Mo, because I was just kind of reading about that today, and I'm right now I'm reading Neville Goddard, this guy who he's kicked the bucket for a while, but he's still around in spirit. I think he's me. But and he makes a great point. But really, we're so trained to believe that God is outside of us, that it is a separate being, that we have to do all this stuff to get to him or her or whatever you want to call it. And that's the hang up, right? You'll find teachers that want you to, if you read this or you do this meditation, or you go to church every Sunday, or you go to the temple every Sunday, or whatever your religious, there's a lot of different religions, whatever your religious belief is, that will get you to God. And really, it's inside. So how long it takes you is how long it takes you to sort of to be still and listen to that inner you. So it really depends on you, right? There's no one. What you got to remember is there's no one that can lead you to it. It's you. It's all
True.
you. It's all you. You're all sharing. We all are part of the same divinity, right? We are all one. You, me, everybody from every country in the world. What do we have? 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world. We're all connected, and we're all one, and so we all share that. So really, it really depends on you. The Dare to Be It code was structured to help you get there, but that's not you've got to. And what I was careful to do in my book is leave it open for you to find your own path, because I think a lot of books out there, a lot of spiritual teachers, not knocking them, they're all great, they're all amazing. But sometimes I say, if this is what I did, and then people go, well, then I'm going to do that. But really, what another person does doesn't necessarily mean that's what you need to do. They can lay the framework, but then you've got to find that own inner way to do it. And I think what I try to do is really make it simple, because really, the divine connection is simple. It's divine wisdom. It's not made to be complicated to get to. Everybody wants to put a lot of this. It's so hard, I don't know how to meditate. And you don't have to know how. It's natural. It's about breathing and feeling that inner connection. So people can teach you how to meditate, but really, it's being still and then listening for what comes up. You've got to. It's hard to slow down your thoughts, so don't fight it. Right? Let your thoughts come and go. Eckhart Tolle, I think that's how you say his name. Amazing spiritual teacher. He's the one that wrote The Power of Now. That came out in the 1990s. That was a very powerful book. And then another one,
The Power of Now. Yeah, I'll read it.
Yeah, all of these guys, Conversations with God, The Power of Now, all of them have the same message, right? That it's in us, that we need to be still and be in that moment. So I think Be Something Wonderful When Suddenly You Want to Be More, Part 3, the Be It code will help you. Hopefully you like all the parts of the book. It's sort of a labor of love, right? It's the first. The reason I wrote Be Something Wonderful. I wanted to tell the story of the organization that I'm building, right? So people go, well, what is Be Something Wonderful? Well, good question. Here's how it came about. So I'm working on my next book. I won't introduce that yet, but it's going to be something that I think is going to be remarkable. But it's, again, it doesn't really come from me, right? It comes from that divinity that we share about that higher. I like to call it the broader perspective, that source with a capital S, right? Source energy. Or God. I have no issues calling it God as well. I think a lot of people think there's a lot of baggage with God, but that's only if you put baggage on that term. Look, we are incredible. We have this, like you, me, everybody, we have this incredible source within us that we forget about most of the time. Right? We walk around.
Can I comment on this? Because
we walk around unconscious.
It's true.
Right.
I just want to comment on this because I'll tell you something. Here is, like, it took me around 10 years, approximate 10 years, to figure out who I am and to find my, like, inner energy and to know, like, which direction I should take my life to. So I know it's not an easy process, but that actually takes me to a question to you, like starting your career as an accountant and then go into the business world, and now you go into the spirituality world. So that's a kind of a journey. There are a lot of lessons learned out of it, right? How is
That's a departure, right? That's a big departure from
absolutely.
From
I mean,
out as a CPA,
how is it?
Then pretty much banging it out as an executive, a senior executive in businesses, being an entrepreneur in some of the businesses, and then just getting up and leaving South America is what I did. Basically, in 45 days, I made the decision within a few months of 2017, and then by July 2017, I was out back in the United States with Just Be Something Wonderful. If I had to do it over, I would do it a lot smoother. I wasn't connected at the time. I wanted to be connected to my source. But that was the frustrating thing. I got to do something to get this moving. And so it was pretty abrupt. But don't forget, I was working with those business partners for about 12 years. So abrupt.
What was their feedback? What was their impression?
I think they know me, and know, that for probably the last few years of that before it happened, I was pretty restless. It was coming out in many different ways, and they're good people, and I think if I would do it differently, I would try to find that connection while I'm still doing it with them, and then in a very more gracious way leave. But whatever, my inner being, my divinity said, it's time. You're not going to leave willingly. We're going to make you leave. And so I left. And now on my journey to be something wonderful. And it's a great, I love working on it. Some person asked me, I think on LinkedIn, because if you go to my LinkedIn background, it's not a very spiritual background until you get to be something wonderful. It's very business oriented, right?
Yeah. Right? I mean, I looked at it.
It goes on a long time, right? It goes from a big career and doing all different things. And then, boom, be something wonderful. The question is, wow, that's interesting.
Be something wonderful.
So I think we all have that capability that we're looking for something more. And that's what Be Something Wonderful. It's to tap into that something more, that higher idea that we have ourselves. Remember, if we're not really, when God talks about sin, one interpretation by Neville Goddard is sin is you not using your divine abilities to be who you want to be in life. I thought that was a great interpretation, meaning it's a sin if you don't do that, if you don't use that inner connection find that inner connection and
Sure.
tap into who you really are, right? Because then you're walking around not knowing who you really are. That's the sin, right? It's not necessary. Of course, doing bad things isn't good, but that's not what they were really talking about, I think, when Neville got it. I liked his interpretation because he quotes a lot of scripture. And it made sense to me, but yeah, that's it. It's getting back to our connection, getting back to God is why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
God became us so we could become God. And I don't really ascribe to any specific religious
I see. I mean, you're talking in general. You're not referring
religion.
to.
I'm talking in general. That
Sure.
is my belief, right? I don't feel a need to wrap a specific religion around it because God is God. It's God.
Can I ask you?
you know, yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you about the book? Something like, do you have it in different languages? In which countries do you see this book is selling the most?
Well, Be Something Wonderful is on Amazon right now. It's offered, I think, in a lot of different countries. Whatever Amazon offers, I think there's a list of it. But I have not translated it yet. I think the first language I'll get it translated in is Spanish.
Spanish,
which
absolutely.
Which is one of my a second language to me, which I learned while I was down in Peru. But then, I would love to get it, eventually get it translated in many different languages and have it available to those who want to read it, right? Who want to connect with it. And right now it's in English. I hope to have it in Spanish soon. And then as it, I've been just really in the last 7 months, I guess now, is when I started promoting it and getting testimonials and reviews. So it was out there for a while. And then I went in maybe in around February and redid the ebook to make it much more beautiful and easier to read on, because I think it was difficult. The content was pretty solid, a few small things, but it wasn't flowing well as an ebook. And so I had a very great expert work on it. It's beautiful now. And I got a paperback, a pretty professional paperback done. So both of those are available. Pretty inexpensive ebook. It's like for $3.97 on Kindle. But if you're a Kindle Unlimited member, it's free, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
If you have an unlimited membership. But that's just for the month of August because it's going to go just full on.
Interesting. That's a
Kindle.
good news then.
But it will. Yeah, I think, and it's doing well. It's doing well in terms of testimonials. I think we're up to about 186, and I'm working on them. But I would love to see it take off. I think it will, and I think it will be in many different languages. And I think the second book will reinforce it. So
that's
Be Something Wonderful is my heart's desire. Right? It's part of who I am now. It was inevitable to me.
I can completely feel the passion and the energy comes from you when you talk about it. Just something to wrap up with. What would be your advice if someone, for them first time to read spirituality book? What would be your advice to them before reading your book? Like what they should be, like what kind of mood they should be in to be able to get the most out of it?
I would say keep an open mind. Sometimes I refer to God as the universe, and a lot of strict Christians don't like that. But I'm talking about the same divinity. I'm not, I believe in the same divinity. So I think keep an open mind and note that when I talk about the universe as God or source energy, it's still that divinity, that divine creator that created everything, that created the planets. Why do we think that the Earth keeps spinning and keeps rotating around the sun? Well, that's that energy. That's the divinity that does that. That's part of us. So I think keep an open mind. I'm not saying that God is. I'm keeping it a very open general concept, and so that's what I would say first. Second, I would say, enjoy it. It's a little bit about my journey, how Be Something Wonderful started. Then it talks about, I try to put some science behind it because quantum physics was really the start of looking at this energy. they still are pretty baffled by it. Why? Because it's divinity. You can't see it. It's invisible. It's imagination. Christ, Jesus Christ, God, that's the imagination in us. That's the creator in us. That's the divinity in us. So, but there is some in the quantum physics realm, the science supports it. A lot of this, right? Where you can be entangled, right? And the entanglement. There's a lot of that in there, but it's done in a fun, easy to read way. So you don't have to be a scientist to read. But again, be open. If you are a physicist or a scientist, be open to it. I quote a lot of sources in this book, right? So you go to the back, and I have 2 pages of sources.
Wow.
So I'm not saying I made this stuff up. I got it.
Those are references, I would say.
Together, and again, but I tried to put it in a simple, fun way. I think what you'll find would be something wonderful when suddenly you want to be more, is that it's easy to read. You can read it in a couple hours, right? That's how fun and easy it is to read, and I guarantee you'll feel good at the end of it. So even the people that I got a few reviews that they weren't great reviews. I'm thinking, one said, "Well, where is God in all this?" But you can't say it was negative. No one could say that, right? You're gonna feel good at the end. So even if
at the end of the day, it gives you positive energy.
Even if you disagree on God, the Creator, as also being referred to as the universe, He created the universe, so we're all part of that. You're gonna feel good, and you're gonna find something in this book that you're gonna really like, and that was the whole idea. The Dare to Be It code, part 3 of the book. Mostly everybody loves that part of it because it's pretty simple. Each letter of the word "dare to be it" represents a code. So dare to face your fear is D. Align with that magical energy, that's A, right? So each part of the Dare to Be It code, each letter is a part of the code, part of the print is a principle. And so I think you'll find it easy, and I attach some exercises, pretty easy breathing exercises, and one of the things I liked about Neville Goddard, which I don't quote in this book, which I sort of found him after I wrote this book, and so he'll be a part of my next book, is that when he talks about prayer, he goes, prayer really is, when you pray for something, you've got to go under the assumption that you already received it, because that's what God said, right? If pray for what you want, and then believe that you've already received it and it's yours. That's what was said throughout the Bible, that it's already yours. So that's the way to pray, right? If you pray from sort of a desperate, needy way, and all the quantum physicists say this as well, you sort of push it away, right? That's not the way to pray. Pray that to your divinity within. It's already done. Creation's finished. Everything you've ever wanted is already out there. You've just got to attract it to you.
Is that the law of attraction? Is that the kind of
part of it, Mo? I think law of attraction is part of the story. It's not the whole story, right? But the law, God's law of attraction is part of God's law. Law is that if you want, you've already received it. Law of attraction is a part of it. A big spiritual teacher that talks about that is Abraham Hicks. This is I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She wrote Asking It Is Given. She wrote a lot of these books. She's a big law of attraction teacher, mostly in the States here. And she channels this energy that she calls Abraham, or they call themselves Abraham. And apparently they are non-physical energy. Hard to doubt that she's not channeling it, because she's quite clever and quite brilliant when she's talking with this energy, through this energy. But she talks a lot about law of attraction, but just law of attraction. I'm talking more God's broader law that because there's nothing that God cannot create or have. There's nothing you can't have because you are part of God.
Did anyone before mention that direction?
What's that?
Did anyone before mention that direction, or
this has been talked about for years, right? I think this goes back, all of what I'm talking about really the ancients and the prophets talked about it in the Bible. So it's been talked about. It's interesting how we're still searching when it's all there. It's in Scripture. It's everywhere. And even the early teachers, everybody, have the poets, Shakespeare, and they've all talked about us being creators and attracting and creating what we want. It's interesting, but that we're still searching for that because it's already there. It's already inside of us. So that's really the message, Mo, is that to your listeners, anybody who really wants to hear it, is that the message is inside you. And really all of those great entrepreneurs, Steve Jobs, who passed away, right? He often talked about or referred to death in his later years. He knew, right? He had a sense that he was, but there's a lot of controversy with Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. But there's no doubting that he was connected to his imagination. He created something that didn't exist, right?
Yeah.
And the first personal computers, people back then said, no, you can't have a computer on a table.
Well, yeah.
It was a.
But he was visionary.
Or the idea that you could do so much with this little phone, right?
Sure.
It's a myth. You can email and you can download videos. You have millions of songs that are available to you. So we've come a long way, and these creators. But I think what Neville Goddard says is all of that's been created already. Past, present, and future exists right now. This is very interesting, right?
Wow.
And that we're walking through time. We're walking through space. That's what time is, right?
Awesome.
So we walk through different states, and it seems very slow on this physical level, right? But
I love it when you jump in from science to spirituality to come back to science, and I mean this mix
it's all connected.
It's all connected, and it's very important. As long as you mention that in the book, I feel that definitely people will feel at the end of reading the book that there's an energy flows inside them, something going on.
I think so. I think they're going to find something, a lot of things that they like about it, even if they don't agree with everything. And I think it will open up their eyes to Be Something Wonderful, because I really think Be Something Wonderful is that energy. That's what I feel it is. And I feel the book itself has energy. There's something special about it. Awesome. And I think when you read it, you'll get it.
Absolutely, Tom. And definitely after this video, once we publish it and share with everyone in the North Africa region, and hopefully everyone will get the benefits of reading and get the best out of this book. And I really appreciate the time, Tom. And it was my pleasure. And please, once you publish the next book, let me know. Maybe we can talk more about it as well, and spread the word. Right?
Great. Yeah. Are you on Facebook, Mo? Are you guys on Facebook?
Yeah.
Maybe you can connect.
Absolutely.
We'll connect there.
Yeah. If you don't mind, can you email me your Facebook link and we can be connected, and then
I'll send you. I'll send you my social media links.
Yeah.
And
if you don't mind, can we share that along with the video?
Yeah.
So maybe someone
is on YouTube, but
someone's interested in communicating with you directly. Is that okay to do through LinkedIn, for instance?
Yeah, LinkedIn's great, and on my website is besomethingwonderful.com or tomkearin.com, my name, but besomethingwonderful.com is easy to remember.
Awesome.
And if you go up above, all the social media links are there.
Okay.
But I'll send you the email just so you have them.
Absolutely.
But visit us. Your listeners should visit us at besomethingwonderful.com, and they can either write to me. They can join the company Facebook page. I have maybe 110,000 followers, and they're from all over. A lot of them actual Cairo and your neck of the woods as well.
Interesting.
So
thanks so much.
Mo. Really great
I
talking
appreciate
to you.
it. Yeah.
And
pleasure is mine, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Have a lovely day.